Sunday on Fox, Jalen Hurts is one of 5 quarterbacks to make 2 Super Bowls before turning 27 years old, and he'll face the last quarterback to do it, and that guy named Patrick Mahomes. The two teams met a couple years ago in the Super Bowl, and after the game, Mahomes said there shouldn't be any doubters following Hurts' impressive performance, and Patrick Mahomes doubled down yesterday, Colin, on the Hurts doubters.
I honestly have no idea. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, he goes out there and has success every single year, it seems like, if it's throwing, running, whatever it is. I honestly don't know. If you look at his career, it's all he does is win. And that's what the most important job in the NFL is to win football games. And if he's asked to make big plays happen, he makes the big plays happen. So I do not understand it.
Well, as a quasi-doubter of Hurts, I'd like you to explain yourself. Patrick Mahomes on the other side.
Well, I don't doubt that he's gifted. Like, he's won everywhere, high school, college, and pros.
Yep.
I don't doubt that he's gifted. Do I doubt that he's Lamar, Josh, Burrow, Stafford, Mahomes in the pocket? Yeah, the film doesn't lie. Okay. When you pressure him, when you pressure Brady and Mahomes, it's a nightmare. You can't blitz those two. You put pressure on Jalen Hurts, he's a bottom 6 quarterback in the league. Stylistically, he's more fun to watch than a lot of the pocket guys. But I think there's a clear way to disrupt Jalen Hurts. Now, it's really hard because Philadelphia's O-line is so good and their running game is so substantive that the way to disrupt him is almost impossible. But he is clearly not great from the pocket under pressure.
Okay. Let's use Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady as the reference point. Because you're either Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady or you're just not. You're just garbage. You're just not good. I mean, come on, man. What are we saying here? Really? Like, I know I use Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady as the gold standard all the time when I'm talking about like other greatness. But I'm not going to be like, hey, let's talk about how good Baker Mayfield is. Tom Brady found a way. Patrick Mahomes found a way. Well, yeah, I don't put Patrick Mahomes and Baker Mayfield on the same level. So like I don't expect Baker to be able to do what like Patrick Mahomes can do. Now, unless people try to argue that he's just as good as Patrick Mahomes, then I say, okay, well, look what Patrick Mahomes did. You know, like then that's like, bring it on. But to be like, you can't pressure Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. That's Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. Like, what are we saying here? What are we doing here? You know how many quarterbacks, like every quarterback under the sun gets worse when you pressure them nonstop. Actually, even Patrick Mahomes, when they lost in the Super Bowl, all anyone said was, well, he had no O-line. He was pressured the whole game. So like even this idea that Patrick Mahomes just always finds a way is also not true. Not to mention that when dealing with pressure and blitzes and all of that great fun stuff, so much of it is on the coordinator or the offensive head coach. It's their job to give their quarterback answers. Clear-cut answers to that. Mark Sanchez himself talked about it before. He talked about it early on in the season that I actually wrote down back in like September that I think I still have here. That's what I'm like looking down. Yeah. That's what I wrote. This is from, I even wrote it. Hurd Sanchez, 9/11/24. 3 options of all-out pressure, easy, uncomfortable looks to just get the ball out, motion to block and pick someone up, and if they trick you, pull out, you check down, and if you read correctly and get one-on-one coverage, make that play. Use motion to help clarify the defensive look. If no one moves, you know you're in zone. I forget why I wrote that down back then. That was obviously months ago. But again, you know, Jalen Hurts was great against the blitz and pressure with Shane Steichen because there was clear answers for him. Clear answers, clear defined answers for what to do in any of these given situations. And then things went downhill when the Eagles had a terrible offensive coordinator. And now things got significantly better once they got Kellen Moore. Now, I do think Shane Steichen is a better offensive mind than Kellen Moore, and at this point, just more experienced in terms of more experience at a high level, in terms of like high levels of success. And so I just think that it's just, I don't know, man. It's just kind of absurd. I mean, it really is. and to use any type of his weakness or any of the issues that kind of can hold him back from, like, you know, essentially being the GOAT. We're just gonna act like that's like such this massive issue. Like you realize if like he didn't have any type of issues or any type of liability or any type of thing that can kind of hurt him or bring him down, like, well, then Jalen Hurts would be like in the GOAT conversation. So that's what and that's why you use Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady as the reference point. So you're saying, like, right, like you're either in the GOAT conversation or you're nothing. You know, Brett Favre was reckless. You know, Lamar Jackson is mistake prone in big moments. Joe Burrow's mobility. Also, when you pressure Joe Burrow, when you get to him, when he has a bad O-line, it's tough for him. You know, he's too reliant on the run game and defense. Like, I don't know. We could do this with every quarterback out there. I mean, we really can. So it just doesn't make sense that and I'm all for highlighting pros and cons to all these quarterbacks. I really am. But it's the constant obsession about Jalen Hurts. And then also now we're using Patrick Mahomes as a reference point, which is just hilarious because Patrick Mahomes is a nice person. What is Patrick Mahomes going to be like? Yeah, I don't understand. Jalen Hurts is actually really not that good. He's been really lucky to be part of the Philadelphia Eagles. And, you know, I just think he's going to, you know, he's clearly just, you know, a bus rider, not the bus driver. It's like, okay, like what do you want him to say? Like, huh? Like, what do you think if he was going up against Blake Bortles or Gardner Minshew? Patrick Mahomes would be like, yeah, you know, Minshew is really good in that Minshew mania, haha, you know, like he's always prone to catch fire. You know, you never know. He throws a great deep ball. I faced him a bunch of times with the Raiders, so I know he can sling it. I know he can let it rip. You know, like what do you want him to say? Jalen Hurts is a backup quarterback and not that good. If I were the Philadelphia Eagles, I'd consider moving on. If he was a better quarterback, then the Eagles would have beat us in 22. And this year, quite frankly, it's obviously Saquon Barkley's team. So you know, if anything, I think the offense looked a lot better with Kenny Pickett. Like, we suffer from just collective psychosis at this point, man. Like, I don't know. Man, it's just, I don't know. I'm so excited to see what Jalen Hurts does on Sunday, just what the Philadelphia Eagles as a whole do on Sunday. What's so unfortunate is that no matter the outcome, it's just going to reinforce and confirm people's suspicions, you know, or pre-existing beliefs. If Jalen Hurts just plays kind of good, they'll be like, it's proof he's not that good. It's proof he holds back the Eagles. If he plays great, but like, so does like AJ Brown, Devontae, and Saquon, they'll be like, yeah, but he played great, but like Saquon rushed for 180 yards and AJ Brown had 130. You know, like it still won't give it up to him. You know, Jalen Hurts himself could run for like 150 yards and 3 touchdowns, and they'll say, but did you see the holes that the O-line was opening for him? You know, or they'll just blame the Kansas City Chiefs defense. This defense just wasn't good enough. That's what happens when you have Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and Spags. They tricked us all season in believing that their team was actually better than what they were. So it's just like, it's kind of like no matter what happens, whether they win or lose. If they lose, it's, see, if Jalen Hurts was better, they would have won. If they win, it's just because, well, the team's so great. And it was too much for Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid to overcome. And that roster was too much for Spags. So I agree with you, Patrick Mahomes. It doesn't make sense. Not why Jalen Hurts gets doubted, but why we keep having these conversations again and again and again. And then why we're going to use Patrick Mahomes' answer as evidence of anything. I mean, are you kidding me? If I went up to Patrick Mahomes and said, hey, bud, you know, do you think I can play football in the NFL? He'd be like, hey, man, never say never. You know, I'm sure if you work hard enough and you drink your milk and eat your veggies, you can do it too. I'm like, Patrick Mahomes says that I could be in the NFL. It's like, wow, if he said it, it must be true. Like, guys. Oh, my gosh. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know how Philadelphia Eagles fans do it. I really don't. You guys wonder why people want to say, Philadelphia Eagles fans are so angry and bitter and this and that and they're toxic. And it's like, bro, dude, this is what they're exposed to. Like all day, every day. I mean, like, this Super Bowl would have been so much easier if it was just the Detroit Lions versus the Buffalo Bills, the Lions versus the Ravens, the Commanders versus the Texans. I mean, like, anyone but these two teams, honestly, either Kansas City Chiefs or Philadelphia Eagles. Because even if it was the Eagles versus the Bills, the Ravens, the Texans, if it was the Chiefs versus the Commander, I mean, like, anything but this. It's just, like, unbelievable. Really, truly is. Pretty unbelievable. I don't know. We'll just leave it at that. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Jalen Hurts being doubted and Patrick Mahomes rising to his defense? Like the Batman that he truly is, he faces the darkness and the danger in the darkness, because he was born in the darkness. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. I really can't wait to hear why you all have to tell me that Jalen Hurts is not that good and overrated and is a bum. Please let me know. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I'm going to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.